Welcome, everybody. Parshas Behar. We're going to discuss something for a moment, and then we'll bring it back into this week's Parsha, and you'll see how it connects very well. Moshe Rabbeinu is known for being the most humble person that ever walked the earth. In fact, it's written in the Torah itself, in Sefer Bamidbar, Parshas Bahaloscha, Veha'ish Moshe anav me'od mikol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama. That Moshe was the greatest anav, that humble person. He had the greatest humility of anyone that ever walked the earth. You know who wrote the Torah? Yes, it's God's words, but guess who actually wrote that down? Moshe. How humble is that to say that he is the most humble person that was ever in the world? Is that hypocritical? How humble could that be? And anyways, Moshe Rabbeinu, the leader of the Jewish people, the one who took us out of Mitzrayim, the one who brought the Torah down for us and taught us the Torah, he couldn't afford to be humble. He had a mission to do. He had things to do. He had a nation to lead. How could he be humble? He wouldn't be able to do all that if he was so humble and the greatest, the most humble. How could he have been the leader that he was if he was as humble as he was? Well, that question itself comes from a very misconstrued understanding of humility. You see, humility is not meekness. Humility is not lack of self-esteem. Humility is not dismissing or not acknowledging your own greatness. Rather, genuine humility is, yes, acknowledging your talents, yes, acknowledging your qualities and your greatness. What's the catch? You know where it comes from. So I want everybody to think about a talent or a quality of yours, a positive quality or a talent, something that you're good at. And I'm going to share with you that an exercise that I did with a group of 10, 11, 12-year-old girls in a summer camp many years ago. And I may have mentioned this in the shiur on Parshas Bahaloscha about talents. And I'll put the link in the bio because it's a very related class. But I think it's worth repeating. I asked these girls, please, and this was a creative girls camp. It was a camp in order to foster the creativity and talents of these girls. There was art and dance and acting. And I asked them, tell me something you're good at. And I made them go around and say out loud, I am good at blank. It was so awkward. It was so uncomfortable for them. Many of them really didn't want to do it. Like, it feels wrong. It feels bad. It doesn't feel right. When I prompted them, like, why? What's the problem with saying what you're good at? It feels haughty. You see, these girls were taught the importance of humility and to stay far away from gaiva, haughtiness. This is a midah that we're taught in from schools. And so they were taught from the youngest of ages, don't be haughty. And they understood that to mean I can't say what I'm good at. Because if I say what I'm good at, then guess what? I'm being haughty. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this. There we go. Then I'm being haughty. If I say something that I'm good at, isn't that haughty? Here we go. Okay. And so I had them do it. I made them do it, as awkward, as uncomfortable as it was. And then I said, okay, now go around and do the same and say the same sentence, but add 2 words. Add Baruch Hashem. Blessed is Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for these talents. I am good at drawing, Baruch Hashem. I am good at dancing, Baruch Hashem. I'm good with kids, Baruch Hashem. I'm good at whatever it is, Baruch Hashem. In other words, wow, thank you, Hashem, for this talent. Thank you, Hashem. They could also say it that way. I gave them a choice. Either say, I am good at blank, Baruch Hashem, or you could say, thank you, Hashem, like Baruch Hashem, I have this talent. Like Hashem gave, or like this, Hashem gave me the talent of drawing. Hashem gave me the ability to X, Y, and Z. Oh, they were so relieved. They were so relieved. Because you know what happens when you acknowledge where your talent comes from? You could own it. You could own it without being haughty. You could own it fully and totally. You can own your greatness as great as it is. And it won't be haughty. It won't be gaivadik as long as you keep in mind where it comes from. Who are you attributing your talents to? Who are you attributing your positive qualities to? Who are you attributing your success to? If we're attributing it to ourselves, which is a lot, the kochi va'otzem yadi, the downfall of every character in Tanakh was always came from this feeling of kochi va'otzem yadi. It's my power and strength is in my hands, meaning, I am good at this and my success is coming from me, versus acknowledging and attributing it to Hashem. And if I do that, then I could be the most talented person in the world. Even Moshe could be the biggest Adav in the world, and he's not attributing it to himself. It's a quality, a special thing that Hashem gave him, this ability to be humble. And so he writes, Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble person that ever walked the face of the earth. He knew his greatness. He couldn't lead the Jewish people without knowing his greatness. He knew his greatness, but he knew where it came from. So it didn't get to him. In fact, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu felt that if somebody else had the qualities, had the kochos, had the talents that Hashem gave me, but rather Hashem gave it to somebody else, that person would do a much better job. Do you see where the humility is there? It's recognizing that his greatness comes from Hashem. And, in terms of what he's doing with it, well, maybe somebody else would have done a better job. Okay, but Hashem gave him and he needs to do the best he can, but he's attributing it to Hashem. So humility. Similarly, let's look at this week's parsha. This week's parsha is Behar. Can you guess what mountain it is referring to? Yeah, it's referring to Har Sinai. And I love that this is leading us up to Shavuos in a few weeks. And Shavuos, right, we got the Torah on Har Sinai, on Mount Sinai. And why was Har Sinai chosen? Every little kid who goes to a Jewish day school knows that Har Sinai was chosen because of its humility. It was the most humble of all the mountains, and therefore it was worthy to be the mountain that Hashem gave the Torah on. And there's a theme here, right? The one who gave the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu, is the most humble. The mountain that the Torah was given on is the most humble of all the mountains. So clearly, humility is a prerequisite to Torah. Just put that on the side for a second. But I have a question. It's a really, really interesting question. humility is so important, is so crucial to the giving of the Torah, that Hashem chose the mountain that's the most humble to give the Torah on. And this is the quality that Hashem wants to teach us. It's such an important quality to have. Why did Hashem choose a mountain to begin with? Why did it all? Shouldn't Hashem have chosen a valley? If it wants to show humility, if Hashem wanted to teach us humility, have the Torah given in a valley. Or sea level at least, a plateau Sinai. Yeah, this is humble. Hashem didn't give us the Torah on a mountain because he wanted to teach us humility. Wouldn't that teach us humility? But as we said before, true humility is not meekness. True humility is not about feeling lowly. It's not about feeling unworthy. So a plateau or a valley would not teach us genuine humility. Rather, a mountain. Because true humility includes recognizing our greatness. Standing with pride, even. A mountain stands tall with pride. And yet, which mountain did Hashem choose? Humility. And if this is sounding confusing, well, that's why I named this parsha shiur, the paradox of humility. Yeah, there is a paradox going on. And there's a key to the paradox. The key to the paradox of how in the world am I supposed to own my greatness, acknowledge all my talents, all my abilities, all my positive qualities, own them all, and still be humble? Har Sinai was a paradox. It's a mountain that's humble. How does that work? As we said before, the key to this paradox is knowing where it comes from. I can stand tall with pride, recognizing my greatness, if I know that my greatness isn't mine to own. I can own it because I know where it comes from. It's not coming from me. It's a gift to me. It's not personal. I didn't make myself great. A successful businessman didn't make himself successful. He may have worked hard, and how to understand that is a whole other class, the function of creating a vessel in this world for Hashem's bracha. But who gave him the talents to be able to be, or her, the talents to be successful in a business? The know-how, the starting point. Who allowed the fruits of his labor to be successful? So it all comes from Hashem. Even the talents of mine that contributed to my success are not from me. It's not, again, kochi va'otem yadi, but rather I am great, I am special. Not because of who I am, but because of who Hashem is. Because Hashem is great, that's why I am great. It's like, for example, a princess, or perhaps, I'll give another example, but then I'll qualify it. Like yichus, people who take pride in their lineage, their Jewish lineage, like, oh, I have such great yichus, I come from David and Melech, and they're proud of it. Or a princess being proud of being in, a royalty. Well, she was born into it. If you have yichus, you were born into it. And my qualifier is that we all have yichus. The Rabbi once said this, that every single Jew has yichus. We all come from Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. So we all can have that pride, and we're all princes and princesses. We are children of Hashem, and Hashem is king, so we are all royalty. So that sense of pride in who I am, we recognize where it comes from. I was born into it. I was given this greatness as a gift. It's nothing that I did to myself. It's a pride that I can have, but with the humility of where it comes from. So I want to go a little bit deeper, and then we'll go yet a little deeper. This isn't just about what you're good at. Like we said, your talents and things you're good at. This is about who you are. So like Har Sinai, we need to own our greatness, like Moshe Rabbeinu. We need to own our greatness. What is your greatness? Nurtured heart approach that I've been learning really talks about greatness a lot, seeing the greatness in your children and seeing the greatness of yourself. And really like owning that, yeah, I am the greatness of blank, and naming a quality. Or your child, wow, they are the greatness of blank. And appreciating that. Because like Moshe, his humility does not contradict his awesomeness. And we all have a little Moshe in us, which means we can attain this kind of paradox that Moshe had. He saw it as a gift. And guess what? With greatness comes great responsibility. With awesomeness comes awesome responsibility. He saw his greatness as a gift. And if I see it as a gift, such as, for example, somebody gives you money. For example, somebody gives you money, but not for you, for the purpose of an organization, right? You're given this achrayus, this responsibility to use this money for a purpose. You have this great funds. You're in charge of, $2 million, $10 million, but it's not your own. You know that you have an achrayus with it. You have a responsibility to use it properly, to use it well, to not neglect it, to put it to where it's meant to be used, right? And that goes back to our talent class. If I recognize that my talents and my abilities are a gift from Hashem, then it's a gift not for my own benefit. It's a gift for the purpose of bettering this world. It's a gift for me to use. I have a great achrayus to use these qualities that Hashem gave me to their potential. So actually, if I don't utilize these qualities and talents, I'm lacking in the appreciation and the acknowledgement and the humility of the gift. Meaning, in other words, when I see my talents and my greatness as a responsibility, that's humbling. That's humility. I'm awed by the gifts Hashem gave me. I'm humbled by them, and I see them as goodness. There's what I need to do in this world. And that's a humbling experience. Like, oh boy, I better do it. So, in other words, recognizing that my talents, qualities, abilities are from Hashem will help me recognize that they're for Hashem. And I'm going to take it one step deeper. What is our true greatness? Our true greatness comes from our neshama. which is a chelik elokah mimal mamish, a literal, actual part of God. So as great as God is, in my essence, at my core, who I am, is that great? Is that valuable? Is that precious? My true greatness comes from owning my essence, the essence of who I am, that I'm a part of God. And I want to point out, though, that just like God has, so to speak, has every positive quality, Adares ve'amuna l'chai olamim, every positive quality comes from Hashem or belongs to Hashem. And if my source, my essence, is an neshama, is a chelik elokah, is a part of Hashem, then that means that if I uncover some layers and I dig deep, I have access to every positive quality. So it's not only the greatness that I know about myself, or maybe I need to sit and think about it, like I haven't put enough time and effort into noticing my talents and my greatness and my qualities. Maybe I need to do that. But even deeper than that, I can access every positive quality that there is to be had. Our greatness is a reflection of Hashem's greatness. Humans, people, were created b'tselem Elokim, in the image of God. You know, I feel like it's hard for us to acknowledge this when it comes to ourselves, but look at a child. If you've ever seen a child grow or do something really cute or say something really smart, you're like, wow, it's just amazing. And we have this innate recognition of like, marabu ma'asecha, that this ability for a human to be and grow and like develop and gain in understanding and verbal ability and physical ability and come up with cute things to say and their understanding of the world, we have this recognition of like, wow, it's from Hashem. Like they're so great, they're so awesome, it's so awesome to watch. And we have this awe, again, this like awe feeling of Hashem's greatness. And we like, in those moments, we like, thank Hashem, oh my goodness, thank you, Hashem, for this beautiful child. Thank you, Hashem, for having me witness. So the same idea we need to bring to ourselves. We can acknowledge our own greatness and see it as a reflection of marabu ma'asecha, how great are Hashem's doings. How great is Hashem that he created humans? You know, we look at nature and we say, wow, Hashem, how great is Hashem that he created nature? But humans that have developed thus far, created AI, humans that can, you know, just, I mean, for sure if you learn biology, but I even mean like the human spirit of us. We can be awed by that. So we basically said three things. Our talents, abilities, qualities, and ultimately our greatness comes from Hashem. Therefore, I recognize that it is for Hashem. But even more, we went a little deeper and recognized what's its source? It is Hashem. Greatness itself is again not mine to own. I'm confusing because I'm saying I need to own my greatness, but now I'm saying it's not mine to own, meaning I don't own it, I don't have rights over it. Maybe I have the obligation to use it, to own it in terms of using them, but I don't have the rights over it. I can't claim it as mine because I recognize that greatness itself is from Hashem, is Hashem. That was our third level. So the paradox of humility, the paradox of Har Sinai being at once a mountain and yet humble, is that we need to have enormous pride in who we are and all our greatness. And that's not a contradiction to the humility of acknowledging that this greatness is not our own. I want to bring this out in just another way. This concept is true on a few levels. It's true on our individual level, like we said, like recognizing your own greatness and how to have that in a humble way. It's also on a national level, right? This coming Sunday is Lag BaOmer, and Crown Heights will be having its Lag BaOmer parade that the Rabbi instituted many years ago, which only takes place, the grand parade only takes place when Lag BaOmer falls out on Sunday. And I believe the last time it was 7 years ago. Lag BaOmer parade is a tremendous source of Jewish pride. That's what was so endearing to the Rebbe about this parade. What he loved about it so much is that it gave a Jew, a small child, or an adult, a sense of Jewish pride. Especially today when we see people parading the streets with klipa, with darkness, with evil, with ignorance. We need to march those streets with pride in who we are and knowing who we are. And again, knowing who we are and even knowing that we are the chosen nation doesn't have to be haughty. It can be the most humble thing in the world to say, yeah, God chose me to be part of the Jewish nation. Oh my goodness, what an awesome achrayus that is. What an awesome responsibility that is. Wow, I've got a job to do. I've got a mission in this world. We are humbled by being chosen. So we have tremendous pride in being Jewish and tremendous humility at the same time. Another point. Anava, this kind of true humility, and I want to point out that in the beginning of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says that somebody who has the talent, he says that really this shouldn't be written in a book. It could be misunderstood, and also it's really individual. A person's avodas Hashem is very individual. And so really people should teach it. Somebody who understands Tanya should teach it to other people. And nobody should really open Tanya and learn it on their own, but rather it should be taught teacher to student. And he writes there, if somebody has the ability to teach Tanya, and he doesn't, because he says, no, I can't, I don't have that in me. I don't have that ability. I don't really understand. He says it is false humility. False humility. And he calls you out on it. And he says, you have a job to do. You need to teach the Tanya. Who else is going to do it? Hashem gave you the ability. Don't have false humility. So again, this false humility that we have stops us from stepping into our greatness. It stops us from doing great things and contributing to the world, contributing to our community, making a difference, fulfilling our potential. Yeah, no, I'm not that great. It's false humility. So going back, this true humility is also the source of our strength, resoluteness, and firmness in our commitment to Torah and mitzvos. How so? Because again, if I see my greatness as from Hashem, I see everything I have is from Hashem, then I'll be sure to use it only for Hashem. What a betrayal, God forbid, to use my talents and my abilities for anything but a godly purpose. Again, like that money that we were given and we have an achrayus towards. We have an achrayus towards putting our life energy itself, the The fact that we woke up this morning and we have whatever energy Hashem gave us, whatever level of energy that Hashem gave us, I have an achrayus, a responsibility to use that for him, for his purpose, to serve him. And I'm going to end with one last piece that I thought of that goes along with this theme. Our resoluteness, our firmness in protecting the land of Israel and the people in Eretz Yisrael, that ability to stand firm against the world, right? Today itself, the ICC said, they said, they put out, they had the court case and they said, you need to leave Rafah. We can't listen to the craziness of the world. We can't listen to America right now, Biden trying to, he was trying to stop us. And look what happened when we did enter Rafah and it was successful. The evacuation was wildly successful, way more than anybody expected. All of a sudden he retracted. Oh, maybe it is okay. Maybe it is a good thing. I take back that I told you for weeks and weeks and weeks and delaying upon delaying. We can't listen to that. We need to be firm and strong and proud to do what we need to do towards our goal of protecting the land of Israel, protecting the Jewish people, and getting back our hostages. Where does that resoluteness come from? That strength to stand firm against the world, against popular opinion. Where does it come from? Again, it comes from acknowledging that this achrayus itself comes from Hashem. It comes from recognizing that Eretz Yisrael is our gift from Hashem. That Hashem gave us Eretz Yisrael. And we have, again, this as a gift. And this is our obligation, our achrayus, to take that seriously, to protect it. We have an achrayus, and we need to be humbled and awed by that responsibility. And we need to look to Hashem, not to the ICC, not to United States of America, but to look to Hashem, to look at Torah and say, what is my responsibility here? Oh, Eretz Yisrael belongs to us? Okay, so then we can tune out whatever the world says. And in fact, we can stand firm in that and tell the world, this is our responsibility because this land belongs to us. And we're not going to entertain any crazy two-state solutions because I know where Eretz Yisrael comes from. I know who it belongs to, and because I'm firm in that belief, because I'm firm in acknowledging again where it comes from, now I have the achrayus and responsibility to keep it secure, to protect it, and to do everything in our power to do so. So again, there are many venues that we explore this in. But the idea is, the more we can acknowledge where our greatness comes from, the more we can acknowledge where Eretz Yisrael comes from, the more we can acknowledge where our very life force, our life, our waking up in the morning comes from, the greater sense of achrayus, responsibility we have towards using it in the proper way. And what that brings out is this incredible paradox of I can be proud of who I am. I can be proud of my talents and my greatness. And that pride, that greatness only makes me more humbled and more focused. What kind of leaders do we want to have? We want to have a leader who's humbled by his responsibility, who yes, recognizes the greatness and the power that they have to do right for their nation, but sees it as a responsibility and is awed by it and is humbled by it. So I'm wishing everybody a beautiful Shabbos and to own your greatness. Own your greatness, because it's not a contradiction to being truly humble. Good Shabbos.